and welcome back in my kitchen. As announced in my last video when we prepared the vanilla crescents, today I will prepare a Christmas variation of Austrian plum dumplings. So that is the same recipe than apricot dumplings. If you like them and if you should watch this video at another season, then I will link down below in the description box to a video which I made for the city of Düsseldorf where I prepare the apricot dumplings. But it's in fact the same recipe, just you switch just the fruits. So excuse my voice today, I have a sore throat and this is why I have my tea. Anyway, that is tea from AVOURY. That is a brand by Melitta, you know, the coffee filters. And they have launched here in Austria and in Germany a tea machine, and it's just genius. Especially the Brits will know a perfect tea needs the right water temperature and it needs the right brewing time and of course perfect tea quality. They're all biological and they come in already recycled capsules, so it's no additional plastic. It's already recycled and they can be recycled again. And they're all biological teas, and the machine takes over the brewing and always the right temperature, the water temperature. There's also a filter for the water, so you have perfect water. But today let's concentrate on the plum dumplings. Should you be interested in the tea machine, let me know in the comments down below and then I will present it to you. So let's get started and roll up the sleeves. So let's start with the ingredients for the dough, and in this case it's a curd dough. It is very fluffy and very light. It's absolutely fantastic, very typical for Austria. So because it's a curd dough, obviously we need curd, and try to find curd with 10% fat. Then we need 150 grams of grippy flours. What does grippy flour mean? It means it's not as fine as normal flour, so it feels a bit like salt and pepper when you run it through the fingers. Then you need 60 grams of hand-warm butter. Then you need a pinch of salt. Then you need the zest of half a lemon. Should be a biological, non-treated lemon, of course. And then we need an egg and an egg yolk, and I have already separated that. So that is for the dough. But if in case you want to prepare your shopping list, so let's continue with the rest that you need. So because it's quite late in the year, I didn't find small plums. This is why I took bigger ones, and we have 6 here. Obviously they are too small. We will cut them so we can make approximately around 15 dumplings out of that. Then we need sugar to sweeten them, to take a bit of the acid out. And then for the Christmas version we need ground cinnamon and cardamom. So that gives the Christmas note and the Christmas taste. Then later on we will be coating the dumplings in breadcrumbs, and those breadcrumbs will be baked golden brown in a lot of butter, 250 grams of butter. And last but not least, we will sugar the finished dumplings with powdered sugar. You will need those bowls that you see here. You need a chopping board, a knife for the plums, in case you don't get smaller plums. If you have small plums, you just will need to get out the stones, and that's fine. Then you need a pan later on for the breadcrumbs, and you need a pot to cook the dumplings. So that's it, and let's get started. So now we have the 60 grams of butter. We will be adding here a pinch of salt. Then we add the lemon peel, or the lemon zest rather, of half a lemon. I like, you take rather more than less because it gives the dough a very, very fresh taste. So I rather to have more than not enough of it. So, and then we mix that all together. We mix that well. So now it has the right consistency, and now we will be adding the egg yolk and the egg. So I've already separated it, as I said. So, and then the entire egg. So it makes, of course, sense to take out the eggs out of the fridge also a certain time before, because otherwise it would harden the butter, and we paid attention to the fact that it was hand warm, as you remember. So now we will be adding the curd. So these are 400 grams curd with 10% fat. If you don't get the 10% in your country, or if it's difficult to get it, try it with the 20%. I think this is the more common one, but I wouldn't go above the 20. Otherwise the dough gets too heavy, and we don't want a heavy dough. That's my dog making sounds because of the machine. He doesn't find it too reassuring. Now we will be adding the grippy flour. Yeah, Gandhi, my dog, is not happy. I'm not adding it all at once. I mean, it's not gonna get clumpy because it's not as the fine flour, it's not as risky. So we add it bit by bit, maybe in 3 or 4 times. So now it gets difficult for the mixer. And now I will switch to the hands. And it has a nice, really nice consistency. It's really fluffy. And now we put the dough into the fridge for 4 hours. So we are the next day because my throat needed a break. I was really ill yesterday, so I'm having my next tea. So this is the Mumbai Chai by AVOURY. Just a phenomenal tea. Let me have a sip. It's our favorite tea. My niece who's filming and myself, we love it. So, what we are going to do now is we are going to cut the plums. As I told you, the plums are quite big, so it would be impossible to make a dumpling that contains the entire plum. I mean, it would be a huge dumpling. So what I suggest that we do is that we cut it, the plums, in cubes. And of course that we take out the stone. Now we finished chopping the plums. And now we will mix it with sugar in order to reduce a bit to compensate the acidity of the fruit. But I do that by feeling, so I cannot even tell you how much. I mean, let's have a look here. This is a not even a tablespoon, maybe 2.5 tablespoons I would suggest. I will mix it by hand a bit more. It depends also how sweet you want it to be. Then we have the ground cinnamon. Well, I love cinnamon, and in order to give it a bit of the Christmas feel, so we have the cinnamon. And what I find also very good is the cardamom. Now, if you don't have cardamom, you can buy it grinded, but you can also buy it in the entire pieces. They're like seeds, and then you have to grind them yourself. So now we're gonna mix that so that we evenly distribute the cinnamon, the cardamom, and the sugar amongst the plums. So now we take out the dough of the fridge, so it's quite hard, and it will be easier to form the dumplings. In order to form the dumplings, we need to flour our working surface so that the dough doesn't stick to it. That is normal flour, not the grippy one. The grippy one was for the dough, so you evenly distribute it. Now we take the dough out of the bowl. And we roll it out to a roll of about 5 centimeters of diameter.
always flour your hands a bit. Has a nice consistency, you can tell it's soft. Depending on how big you want to make your dumplings, you know, the 5 centimeters, that's just an indication. We say in Austrian, you can leave 5 even. The Austrians are not very precise people. And as it's an Austrian recipe, we say you don't need to have it, you know, the mathematic precision here. So, and now we cut it in small pieces. We will play around a bit and see how we will form the dumplings. Then, you know, you flatten them a bit. And then you put, I think we need a bit more dough. Let's see. That was not enough. So, like that. And then we put the filling in here. Quantity wise, think about a small apricot. That's what you can imagine in order to quantify. Yeah, it's maybe a bit too big. It's also a big piece here. And then we close it. It's like a little parcel. Christmas parcel. So don't forget to flour your hands again a bit. And then you roll them. Now, because this is, and if you see that it doesn't really close well, just verify that it's closed. Then you roll it. And then we will go on preparing all the dumplings. Before you finish forming all the dumplings, you need to start heating up the water so that it can cook. So this is, I think, approximately the quantity that we will be needing. And once the water cooks, don't forget to put a pinch of salt or 2 into the water. So and then we will continue forming the dumplings. And now we finished forming all the dumplings, and now we will be putting them in the boiling water, one after the other. And as I said, I also put some salt into the water, but just, you know, like 2 pinches of salt. And while the dumplings are boiling in the water, we will prepare the Semmelbrösel, which are the bread crumbs. I always buy them in Austria because I find they are the better ones. They look like that. They are Semmelbrösel. So that's my home shopping list that I always have. But so we melt the butter, and you need a lot of butter. And I love to use cast iron pans because they have a great heat distribution and also heat storage. And I think they are just fantastic. In this case, it's a pan from Le Creuset. So now that the butter has melted, we add the breadcrumbs. We need quite a lot, as you can tell, for this amount of butter. Oops. So let's see if when we mix it. So we have to see that all the breadcrumbs are soaked with this wonderful butter. So in this case, I think we can add a little more. So that goes by feeling. Don't ask me how many grams, just take enough butter and then you keep on adding. And it shouldn't be too dry, obviously, because otherwise the breadcrumbs cannot stick to the dumplings. So, and once you see that it has soaked up the fat, then we want them to get a bit golden brown. I mean, they're already golden brown by the fat, but to roast them a bit. And what I do is I'm always careful that it's not too hot, that the pan doesn't get too hot as long as I have only the butter, because we don't want it to burn. Now I increase a bit the heat. We keep on turning. So, and in the meantime, we can see that the dumplings are ready. So they came up now that they're ready. And as soon as they are ready, we will be rolling them in the breadcrumbs. Look at this. Isn't that wonderful? So now I take out the dumplings. Not too many at a time, so that we can roll them. And then you roll it, you roll the dumplings through the breadcrumbs, and because they're humid, obviously, it sticks to them. And now we're ready to be taken out and to be served. I would say, I mean, in Austria they eat it as a main course as well. We call that Mehlspeise, flour dish, and as they are warm, I would say 3 are largely sufficient. So, and then you add a bit of powdered sugar. You can also mix powdered sugar with cinnamon additionally if you want it to be a bit more Christmassy. And then I would just say enjoy. So my niece, who has been helping me filming, couldn't wait to try them. So now let's see what they look like. Yummy. So what do you say? You like them?
It's so good.
And is it Christmassy?
Yeah.
Do you want more cinnamon on them with the sugar, or is it enough?
A little bit more.
Then we will add some cinnamon, just a second.
But I'm really into cinnamon, so please try it without.
And Katrin is drinking it with the AVOURY tea, the Mumbai chai, and that really goes well with this recipe because it also contains cinnamon and cardamom and cloves. So that's the perfect, really the perfect combination. And as you can tell, she likes it. So she's gonna leave me today, so she has been helping me, and I think she has really done a great job. Thumbs up to you. Thank you so much.